this for LA Hoover. He finally bought a 700C bike. You know, it's the Walmart Thruster. It's only $100 bike. You know, where I come from here in Hawaii and around. A lot of people I notice resell it and try to sell it for more, which is ridiculous. I catch them sometimes on Facebook Marketplace, and I let them know like, hey, this is the Thruster. You know, Walmart Thruster had a couple editions of single speed bikes, or like two that I know of, and they're just painted in a bunch of colors, but but in the same colors, and I always see them, and I can see the flaked paint and the original paint here and there sometimes, and I let them know, hey, you shouldn't be doing that, upselling, but to each his own, and because it's such a good bike for such a cheap price, I understand why they're upselling it because it's hard to get, but hell, I'm not that kind of guy. But anyways, this video is for LA Hoover, who finally got a 700C. I realized he did have a skinny tired bike before, but once again, I want to remind him that this is another skinny tired bike, and even though you may decide to try and upgrade your skinny tires and get little beefier ones that I had before that were, with tubes and air filled, you're gonna end up stripping the tires. These motors and the braking power, if you have rear brakes, they kind of put torque on the tube and the tire, and they tend to pop. So yeah, I would, that's why I'm trying to stay away from tubes on the rear. And because I'm not running my electric hub in the front and my electric setup, I sold it already. I just got tube in the front now because the front doesn't really always take damage. And here in Hawaii, where we have a shitload of potholes, like the ground is like way worse than that in the street. We're lucky our road looks like this. This is like pristine. Out there, right past this, and a bunch of other places, it's terrible. But so that's one of the things. I got a list to go over. I've kind of just got started my video, but the other thing is I got a little basket over here. I use some hose clamps. I'm a big fan of hose clamps. I've got the hose clamp here for when the pads warms up in the clutch and they expand and they start to grip when it's only using the pins. So now I've got this so I can hold it the full way at the stoplights or long waits, or leave it running and not have to worry about the pin jumping out because of the spring pushing it up and down and whatnot. So I can secure it like that, lock it up while it still runs if I want to leave it running outside the liquor store or something, because here in Hawaii, bicycles run like water, like people steal them left and right, and kind of why I haven't had mine registered yet. It's the DMV taking so long, and they get stolen and sold so fast. I bought mine for $100. I'm pretty sure it's not stolen, but if it was, I wouldn't doubt it. I bought it from a military guy out on my Pahu's side, but hopefully, military guys, they should check out. Why would he buy a stolen bike? But he doesn't know. Who knows? But anyways, so let me get my list out here and start talking about my bike. So I got the basket up there. I also installed this piece of wood back here from Home Depot. Have a little hose clamps for my rack, so it sticks under there, and the back side's just a bungee because I didn't drill out holes for a hose clamp as well. But whatever, I don't know if I'll even ever get to that. I'll probably just leave it as is. Then I got these bungees are for securing whatever I bring home, diapers, you name it. Yeah, and it's a little extension, because my old e-bike battery was about this long and was extremely heavy and would almost make the bike wheelie pretty much. But this bike's taking some weight, unlike my old Cannondale that broke right down the middle. But let's get into it for LA Hoover. Sorry I'm taking so long and such a low crap quality video. Fuck, I'm broke. I'm using the old iPhone. I even lost the other phone. But okay, first things you'll notice is the bike has been repainted. It's been repainted because the police are heavy around here. I have a neighbor who's a police, but I don't know, I just think, this new world is kind of corrupted and they'll pull over whoever for whatever, and so I'm trying to just be as discreet as possible. And so let's start off the next thing on the list, double spring. So I seen a video out there of a guy who, also by the way guys, I installed my chain tensioner, and I had to grind down these bolts for a pedal clearance, as you see right there, and I had to grind down this bolt right here. These were both nuts that came factory, or this nut factory like this. I did a little bit of modifying to this chain tensioner that's real special. So as you see, the pedal clearance is like, it basically kind of, there it touches right there a little bit, but it's enough to get pedaling, and when all the engine vibrates, it goes right past. There, you hear it? You hear the little bit of scrapage. I'd go down a little more, but nah, I'll grind down more on my pedals. As you can see, both sides of my pedals have this for the clearance for the motor. This is one thing, LA Hoover, you might have to watch out for with your pedal clearance, as you can see on this side. I've also grinded down the inside, and I use junk pedals on my bicycle, so you know, I didn't mind grinding down over there. It wasn't such a big issue. Ooh, hands got dirty from that. Okay, next thing on the list. Let's see here. So apparently, I've noticed my train had gaps when I pedal through it. It would get loose at times and tight at times, which is why I finally was lucky I found the way to bolt on this chain tensioner, which I'll get into in a little bit. But the gaps I realized in the chain and the tightness and the looseness wasn't from the chain stretch in different areas. It's probably that, but in combination with most likely this gap right there, and you know, the fat gap over here for my little bolted in rig up over here, Jimmy rig, whatever. Call it the Christian rig. I'm known for this kind of bullshit. Okay, and the next thing, so my chain tensioner, I have this in here. I noticed there was a guy out there, as I was just saying earlier, but then I got distracted, but had two springs on his chain tensioner. One in this hole over here, and then he drilled the second hole over here, or his chain tensioner already came with the second hole here, or I guess you would just use this one right here, but he had the second spring over here. The reason, and this, I guess this one was up and the second one would be here, but the reasoning for that was because when you turn over the motor, obviously it does a reverse pull and it tightens up on the bottom of the chain, and he didn't want it to scratch over here while it was starting up, or he didn't like the extra time wait or the play. So the first spring would cause tension as soon as it tightened up on the chain. The second spring just held the natural tension here. You know, so the first spring, it didn't hold any tension until you drop the clutch and you put forward motion into the piston to try and turn it over. It'd create little tension here. Then the second spring would start to stretch, but it'd be so much with this one plus this spring that you would turn the motor over without stretching this too much, so you won't scrape out too much of your inside of your frame if you have clearance issues like me. LA Hoover, this is another thing you'll be running into, is clearance issues with your bicycle. Sorry, I've been drinking. Yeah, that's the beer I rode home with, but got more upstairs. But anyways, next thing on my little list, I have trouble reading every time. Tannis airless tires. So I decided to talk with my girlfriend. We had a talk, and I saved up some money, and I gave her money. We're waiting, you know, till, you know, everything's on my credit card. You can't just pay cash to online, you know. Hello. So anyways, we're waiting till she gets her paycheck in, and I'm switching out these cheap Chinese, like 12 to 15 to some guys sell them for 30 tires, you know, for a little more expensive tire that can really handle some beef. Because as you can see, this is worn down, and I looked up Tannis tires, TANNUS tires, and they're going for $65 now, and then originally they're $80, and I'm pretty sure in the past they were around $100 something for a single tire, but now it's down to 65. I guess they're, you know, getting nicer, and they're actual real good. They're the real version of this, and they have these little clips in them if you can go Google them on, or I mean YouTube them and stuff. But they're a better version of this, and they aren't all like, look at this. This is my tire. Look, it's that's how fucking bad it is. Excuse me, like that's how bad it is, you know. So, oh, I hope YouTube doesn't do anything for that thing. Oh, swearing. But anyways, so that's what's going on with that. So yeah, the tire's real junk, but that's, you know, but I need an airless tire, or else I'd be replacing tube after tube, because with Hawaii's roads and in general LA Hoover, you're gonna have a bunch of tire pops with these 700Cs. I'm sure you've had skinny tires before, and you've got nice roads over there, and they're like these, they're like this. This isn't the rest of Hawaii. This is just our road. Trust me, this is not Hawaii. It's a terrible representation of our roads, but because our roads are fucking crap over here, man. They're bad. But so that's that. And then the other thing is, so yeah, you want to try to probably eventually change to a, you know, tire, so you don't have to keep spending $6. What is $65 to replacing, you know, however many tubes it takes to add up to that, plus the tires that you'll be going through, you know. So look up Tannis tires, TANNUS. You know, the torque on these bikes is just a little something, because I've noticed in my rear tire, every time I've changed the pop tube, it was kind of stretched out in a direction. I don't know if that was after popping it stretched or what, but there's something in play with that, you know. So Next thing is brakes. So my brakes kind of broke on my bike, but I was I was just kind of dumb, and I just jimmy rigged up my brake system for now until I get new ones. But as you can see here, the little nub on my brake right here, sorry, right here, is yeah, it's for like shifters or something. I have a bunch of extra cords, and so I wanted to try and make use of the extra cord and attached on my front brake as usual, with my padded brakes, because I'm not into disc brakes. Those cost too much trouble to deal with, or I just haven't learned them yet. I don't care. I had them before. I don't care. Threw them away, whatever, blah blah. And then I have this special chromoly fork from my old electric setups, which does have these little circle mounts here on the front and two on the rear, but I'm sure those are for baskets or for disc brakes or whatnot. And oh, actually, no, I seen the disc brake setups. They need a little more than that. But, I've got those, so I'm sure I could still, or I can put on the Chinese disc brakes or whatever, those adapted ones that they make, I'm sure I could do it, but I don't want to do it because, yeah, it's just so much trouble. That's all I do is my little brakes there. And if I ever have trouble and I can't stop, I'm always wearing shoes or slippers. You have your left and your right foot. You can do your little foot jam or toe jam, and you stick your foot back here, and it's basically grinds against the wheel and stops your ass. But, okay, that's that. And wet clutch. I've been wondering, I've got out my lubrication kit. I just bought some brake cleaner from Walmart, the cheap one. We're gonna try that out. It's just brake cleaner. It's not like it's engine oil, so I'm sure cheap stuff on that kind of things won't matter. It just, if it doesn't work well, whatever. It's not like it's destroying my bike. It just won't clean as well. But I've noticed one thing about the clutch. I'm tired of gearing that clutch over there, and I'm tired of gearing the bucking greasing the clutch gear, drive gear, and the bucking bar and stuff like that, which I'm gonna do tonight. But there's one reason why I didn't do the upgrade to drill the hole here just to put a grease gun, or my little upgrade of my syringe grease thing that I showed on my other video. The one reason why I haven't drilled a little hole in there is because you got to get lube behind the bucking bar, and maybe that's solved by when I grease down here in the clutch cable area, but it's just irritating. And this is the actual weak point of the two-stroke, and the lube points that's the wear and tear. This is the reason why I don't know, but this seems to be the reason why I would think the four-stroke beats the two-stroke in lubrication and long longevity, is because the lubrication points, like, hell, I can't believe I'm even opening up tonight. I wish I could just shoot grease into a few areas and it would be greased very well, and to keep it going. But I guess that's just not how it works. The camshaft needs some grease for that bucking bar. And that's one thing I'm pissed about. If anybody can find solves to simple things like that, like I've seen the wet clutch video. And I've read a forum where somebody used corks inside of the clutch so the clutch pads could handle the wet oil or whatever, so it could be a wet clutch, and they drilled the hole or whatnot. But that's just it's just not set in play, and no one's made a video about it. I hope they do eventually, or somebody does. And then next thing, exhaust. Okay, I can't figure out what this last thing I wrote here was, but I did put another can on my exhaust. I'm just testing out little cans. What does this mean? Okay, I guess that might be it for my video here. Can't figure out what the last thing I wrote was and why I wrote it, but yeah, that's my motorized bike update for LA Hoover. And then the other thing about seat clearance is, make sure you go ahead and YouTube and Google the correct way to position your seat on a road bike /fixie /700 bike. It's very important that you don't put it up all crappy, so you don't give a crappy review about it. Because if you don't get the correct foot extension and leg extension and the correct angle and everything, there's a few adjustment points. Forward and backwards on the seat. There's tilt on the seat. There's height on the seat. Those are the few things on the seat you definitely need to adjust properly when you purchase these type of bikes. It'll look a little different on your bike because it's a Walmart bike, but that's all right. You know, it's basically the same concept. You know,